What's up? I'm Alicia.
I'm Jamie.
And we are reincarnated.
Calling Jimmy John's got them shooters gonna deliver.
Period.
It's February 2nd. It's the day of the Grammys. It is Black History Month. The month both shooters were born. The month both shooters turned 30. It's the month of the Super Bowl, the KDot Bowl. So it's just a great month. And in honor of all that greatness, we are doing a video on one of the greatest rappers alive. None other than Kendrick Lamar Duckworth. This video is all things GNX. It's been a minute since the album release, but we've never talked about it on this channel extensively, and it's the time to do that. So that's what we're here for today. So we're gonna start this video off talking about our initial reactions the day the album dropped. I work from home, so when I woke up, I saw a little circle around Kendrick Lamar's profile picture. You know when he posts something, it's something about something. He does not post duck lips. So I was excited when I saw the circle. Clicked on the circle. It's a picture of him in front of a car that I know nothing about. I'm like, okay, he's giving us new content, new pictures. Go to his comments. Everybody's like in a frenzy. Like, it's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, what y'all see? What is it? What's going on? Because he didn't have anything else on his Instagram page. So then I went to his Finsta account, Jojo Ruski. Jojo Ruski had a video, and it was a snippet that's amazing. And from there, I'm like, oh, he must have announced that he's dropping an album. But people were saying in the comments that this is the best album they've heard in a while. So now I'm going to Apple Music. Lo and behold, there's an album titled GNX. I'm excited. I texted two people closest to me, my shooter and my brother, in a group chat, and I'm going to insert that footage here. I am going to censor my face because I had just woken up and I look crazy. We've been waiting on Kendrick like the first and the 53s in the year. I can tell you what instinct. Hide your feelings now. What you better do? I take your girlfriend and put that on a pedestal. Don't kill my vibe. Y'all, we've been waiting on Kendrick. I'm not finishing the book today, Shootas. But as you can see, I was very excited. My brother was very excited. I'm gonna let Shooter tell you how she felt on that day.
I was excited that my shooter was excited. And I say that because if you watch episode 1, then you already know. I would call myself a student to the origins of hip hop and all of the elements of hip hop in the culture. And also, I like R&B music. Like, I was raised on that, and not a lot of other than gospel. So my ear for rap is very young, and I guess my palate for it is not as refined. I just haven't dove in like that. But I am now, and I'm doing so now. And I don't know, KDot is now here with he's helping me get to know the game. Aside from that, Shooter, she's a stout fan. Like, she has been at Kendrick stand since day one. What did we say in one of them episodes? It's been over 10 years since he hit the map. She was geeked, and I was at work, so I'm seeing a client, and my phone is just ding, 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 ding. And she is sending me videos, like. So anything that made my shooter that happy, of course, I'm gonna be happy about it. But I got into it later on for myself.
I will tell y'all this story from college. When I first got to college, I did not know that Kendrick Lamar was not like that popping. The day I found out, I was actually with my shooter and my roommate, and we were walking to Walmart, which was across the street from our college. I don't really remember what we were talking about or how Kendrick Lamar got into the conversation, but I remember my roommate saying it was J. Cole, because she was in love. My roommate loved J. Cole, and she was saying that he's just not very famous. I'm like, are you talking about Kendrick Lamar? Yes, he is. And Shooter was like, well, I don't know. And
I don't know any of
them. I thought both of them were crazy, but I stopped talking, and then I called my brother and talked about them later. We didn't know each other that well at that time. I wanted to tell that story to tell how Shooter is just not, or she wasn't a Kendrick person. She might be coming around to the good side now, and I hope so.
Let's say that I was not a rap person. I didn't know their music. None of it really was anything that I'd be like, oh, a J. Cole album drop, let me go listen. I just wasn't in like that. I would say that I knew some Drake songs because Drake made stuff that crossed over out of rap, which is the whole, okay, we not getting into the beat today. But so I knew some of them, and I knew the rappers that my brothers liked. But I would get in the car and play the music nobody wanted to hear. So
That's not true. I like your music.
girl, nobody ever gave me the ops. Tell the truth. Point is, I didn't get into hip hop very much at all before college, like intentionally. And I probably heard the bulk of it either if you was playing it in your room or if we was outside. Judge me if you will, but that's just how it was.
Y'all can't judge my shooter. One thing about it, two things for sure. Write a poem. Oh, okay. I'm not even coming for y'all because I know y'all not. I know y'all not judging nobody. Because don't judge my ponytail because I took my locks out and shoulda know I did not want to come on here with my little whatever. But we here.
It never gave love.
And now my shooter do like some hip hop. She would get into some stuff back in them days. So don't just
Mm-hmm.
act like that. But anyway, that was our initial reactions. Now let's get into the themes that you noticed in GNX.
Okay, so because I'm a babe in it, I just feel like I don't feel like I'm approaching it with all of the knowledge that I could have to make a thorough assessment. But I'm a thinker. I'm a creative. So I'm kind of coming into the lyrics. I'm assessing them like just topically. I know that there are a lot of layers to each song and so I'm not all the way to where I've digested all of that. But I can say as a poet, engaging as me, engaging as a poet, engaging as a person who is, I don't know, I like words. So what I feel like I pull is just that one, Kendrick is kind of claiming his time. I think there are some strong metaphors here. I'm going to say two, he is definitely promoting the West Coast or just like his core people. And the other part of it, I feel like it's just like some heavy, like, I want to say it's like get with it or get lost energy. But I also feel like there were some pieces of the album that would speak to some humility or maybe even a need for humility. Regardless of that, Kendrick is saying, I'm that guy and I've been that guy. And I'm not letting nobody else put nothing else on me. Like, regardless of what the people say, how people respond, whatever. This is my time. I'm him. Period. And I don't put the work in and the time in to be him. And that's kind of like what I think.
All right. Two things that I noticed. The first one, and he says it, and he says the word in almost every song. Reincarnated. I think that reincarnation or rebirth of this culture that we all love so much is a major theme. I think it's directly tied to when he dropped the Black Forces song on Instagram. We're calling it Watch the Party Die. That song, The Party, was this watered down version of the culture that we have become accustomed to. And it's like the same reason I said a few years ago, I'm probably done listening to new music because I just can't get with this new stuff. Not judging any kind of music because evolution is a whole thing. It's very necessary. But there are different things, different aspects in hip hop and in the culture that are very watered down. And I know propaganda worked for them. I think it was just time to watch that party die. And this album, I think it transitions from watching the party die to what the rebirth looks like. He is saying in that song that he is rewriting the devil's story to take our power back. Even saying to take our power back is a part of this rebirth. We're taking our power back. We're getting back to the roots of this thing that we built that's special. I don't think it's a coincidence that he got into Isaiah. Isaiah was a prophet, and I think that Kendrick has been very prophetic in this age of hip hop. He was very active in 2024, and he said a lot of things everybody has been saying. It's been a whole thing that Kendrick's diss songs aged like wine. Why did they age like wine? Because the things that he said, much like the Cat Williams interview, they kind of showed themselves after the battle. He's been very prophetic and what's been going down in hip hop and in the industry. Isaiah was a prophet who foretold the fate of Babylon in his time. Babylon had a lot going on and the fall needed to happen. It did. And it was so that the Israelites could rise again the right way. And I think that was a theme in this album. What hip hop has become, it's time for that to die so that true hip hop can rise again. You know what I'm saying? Reincarnation is a theme of GNX.
Yeah, I like that. And with that, I think one, I love words. And I like to say that poetry is living because it speaks to whatever is needing or thirsting within the reader at whatever time or the listener at whatever time. And I was listening to this album, just getting prepared for today. I was tearing up listening to Whacked Out Murals to talk about that in connection to reincarnation. I was feeling like even when I listened to that song, like this is one of the songs that I felt like spoke to a little bit of humility as well. Like his whole, you mentioned it, rewriting the devil's story, and so we could get our power back. And I think again, so many layers, so many metaphors. And it was kind of one of the things I feel like I was hearing when I listened to that. And nobody want to say they like the devil, but as far as people goes, we are fallen, we are sinful, we have fallen from grace, which was the whole reason why we needed a savior.
And
And
humanize him a little bit.
right, and I thought that was some crafty pen work for sure. And I'm still even digesting that track, but even saying that to say for the things that I feel like in me that are hurting and are thirsting right now as it pertains to the culture, like it's just all the things that we are experiencing in our country at this time, but it's something that we've always been experiencing. It's just a little bit more in your face right now that we are I was about to say unloved and unsupported, but in a way I feel like that. And that's one of the things that I feel like I said, it hurts within me. And when you talk about, the need for hip hop to be rebirthed or be reincarnated with, so that it can be as pure as it once was or as impactful as it once was, is really the time for that. I feel like the same could be said about the people within the culture, the people who created hip hop and the people that hip hop kind of serves. Even if I'm not just talking about black people, but I'm gonna start with us. I feel like should be challenged by some of these lyrics too to love better. We should be challenged by some of these lyrics to stand in the fullness of our own existence and even to honor and respect our culture, which was birthed out of pain. Like we talked about this episode 1 too. It was the black culture was created from the little bit that we had been given, and it's how we turned it into something good. It's how we made something beautiful. And when I think about it now, our entire existence has just been how we make something good out of having the least. Like knowing that you're not gonna be treated fairly, or knowing that you're not gonna be respected, knowing that people are not gonna see you the same, but showing up anyways, creating anyways, doing anyway. Like I just feel like the charge is not just for hip hop. It's for those that created hip hop, those who are fed by hip hop. It's a challenge to be better people too. And I really felt that. I felt that. And I'll talk about my tears later.
I guess I said the thoughts I have about the song Reincarnated. On a surface level, I think that Kendrick, and not even that it was his intention, not even that Drake was in his mind when he created Reincarnated, but what he did do, if Drake decides to take the lesson, is show him the proper way to acknowledge the greats. He showed him the proper way to pay homage. He didn't have to use Tupac's voice in order for us to know that that song was a nod to Tupac. He used a Tupac sample, and he embodied Tupac with his voice for the first part of the song. That was him paying homage to his great, one of our greats, without having to use this man's voice without his permission to convey his message. It's more so, it was just a much more respectful way to do that. Because I will also say Drake's, not to make this about Drake, this is a KDot episode, Drake's idea to speak to Kendrick from two of his goats perspective, I think that was a nice creative idea. I don't like the way he executed it, and I think there are other ways he could have done it. Kendrick didn't have to use AI to let us know that he was embodying Pac in that song. As soon as my brother heard it, he texted me and was like, I'm getting Tupac vibes on Reincarnated. I was like, definitely Machiavellian vibes. Then later you realize it's a sample from the Made in Word song. He didn't have to use Billie Holiday's voice in AI to tell her story and some of the not so nice parts of her story to tie this whole thing together at the end of the song. He didn't have to do that. So I think that he did give a little lesson in how to properly give nods to others. And in that, we got a gift as Kendrick Lamar fans. We got a new voice. I don't know if y'all are that type, but I love to unlock new KDot characters because it's so many. And then at the end, he brought it back to himself. The last verse, he's speaking as himself, and that's the last voice that you hear on Reincarnated. That's the voice that he always uses when he is speaking from his own perspective. He's incorporating these different people, paying homage to these different people, telling their stories, and telling how we all fall sometimes, including himself. We get the God versus him talking back and forth in that last verse, just how he plans to do exactly what he said he's going to do at the end of that song, help to take our power back. So those were just kind of my, those are some additional thoughts for the song Reincarnated. But Chef's Kiss, I love that song.
I like that one too. I was just gonna add like one of the lines that I feel like helped develop my idea about this song too was just in this conversation between him and God where he talking about forgiveness and pride having to die and all the things. It's like that's where I felt like the humility was coming in. Like I feel like I was doing the right thing. What you mean? And it's like your heart is hard, boy. Your heart is
But you
hard.
love war. No,
Like
I don't. Yes, you do.
I don't know. I just felt like I said, a whole lot of layers. And if we could look at it or zoom out and look at it through the lens like what I was describing before, it might challenge more than just Black people, but all people to humble themselves, like, and to pay closer attention to the Lord's overall commandment, like loving one another well. Like, and that's a big part of our problem. We don't love each other well right now. It's just why we're struggling and suffering in ways that we have done and are doing right now. Yeah, I think that, I don't know. I just feel like I said, when whatever is hurting in you is what comes up whenever you read poetry. And that is where I was steered. Can you say that is where it steered me? The song steered me in that direction. It just speak to it like a need, a charge to the people, a reminder for the people. I don't know all the words, but I wish I did. I like how it ended though. Like a charge to the people to what he said, I vow my life just to live one in harmony now. Not having wanted to create an enemy, rejoicing, like you said, taking the power back, inspiring, using your gifts to bring understanding for every man, woman, and child. Like it was given. What's that song that all the we are the one. We are the chill. It was giving like peace, love, harmony right there. So, but yeah, I like this song.
Yeah. The second thing that I noticed, and this one is very much all encompassing, the album is a straight up love letter to California. And there are several different facets within that diamond. The first one, GNX, the car. If y'all will notice, I don't know if y'all follow JoJo Ruski, but I do. He posted in March. We put this photo on one of our previous videos, but he posted in March, and the caption and the photos were of a new car that he had purchased. The car was a GNX, and the caption, "A life get real tricky no matter where you at with it. I never pick and choose what stories to relate to. All of them is relative. Like my mama say though, different strokes for different folks. A good old saying can snap you back into reality sometimes. But in the moment of confusion, the best thing you can do is find a GNX. Make you realize the only thing that matters in life is that original paperwork, that TL2 code. One of 547. Yeah, I finally changed. It's over with. DHD. My big cousin Pat Dog smiling down. Anybody want to line it up? I'll pull him off the floor and flip your stuff. That was the caption. Now, that's in March. That is actually a few days before Like That dropped. But just to break that caption down a little bit, he say when life get tricky, life get confusing, sometimes the best thing you can do is go cop a GNX. Now, everybody can't do that. Why? Because GNX is a modified version of the Grand National built solely for the 1987 model year. What year was Kendrick born? 1987. The GNX was made to commemorate the last year of the Regal on GM's G-Body. Buick created the GNX for the 1987 model year. So it sounds like the GNX was the end of that era of Buicks. The end of a great era. 1987 just might be the end of a great rap era when it comes to these rappers coming out. Okay? He also said, make you realize the only thing that matters in life is that original paperwork, that TL2 code. The TL2 code is a code used by General Motors to identify Buick Grand Nationals that were modified for GNX spec features. The code is proof that the car is an authentic GNX from the factory. There were thousands of Buicks Grand Nationals made that year, but there were only 547 GNXs ever made. And Kendrick copped him one. He's been wanting this car for a long time. In LA, this car is the coup de grace. Naming it that, him finally having his GNX, playing Anita Baker in the tape deck, cruising down the streets, and not in his 6'4", but in his GNX, is an ode to California. And each Kendrick album, something carries the album through. And To Pimp a Butterfly is his poem to Tupac, his letter to with Tupac. In Good Kid, Mad City, it is his parents wanting him to bring the van back home. Him and his friends running through the streets. His friend getting killed that night. And an old woman in the streets helping them accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. In the Dang album, it was the different headlines. Kung Fu Kenny, you know what happens on there stays on there. Every album has something that carries us through the album. In this album, it was, and I do not want to mess up her name, Dara Barrera, the Hispanic mariachi singer. She is a Hispanic woman who sang at the opening of the LA Dodgers World Series game. Kendrick noticed her there and asked her to come do some vocals, and those vocals carry us throughout the album. She moved to LA from Mexico when she was 17, and that's just another ode to California, specifically his hometown. I looked up the census for Compton. Currently, Compton's population is 71.2% Hispanic and 25.3% Black. When Kendrick was coming up, those numbers were kind of flipped, so it was more 70% Black, 30% Hispanic, but that's his culture. Brown and Black people, he made sure to incorporate those two things when he was doing this album, because he's never done a regional album like this before. But the us is not just Black people, it's Black and brown people, because that's the culture in which he was raised. Different samples throughout the album also contribute to that love letter to LA. And Luther, the sample was If This World Were Mine, the Cheryl Lynn and Luther Vandross version. If you know, you know. That is the song in the movie The Wood, and The Wood is very much a California movie.
She happens to love that song by Luther Vandross, If This World Were Mine. And if they happen to play that, I want you to get you a dance.
So I feel like that was Ode to the Wood, which is very much a Cali movie. Reincarnated, of course, sampled the Tupac song. Dodger Blue, which is the love letter to LA on this album, sampled Computer Love by Zapp, who sang California Love. So that part. And the coup de grace of it all with the love letter to the West Coast, for the people in the back that have been saying for years that Kendrick doesn't do what Drake do. Drake does all this putting people on, like he go get people from Atlanta and puts them on. All the people that say Kendrick doesn't do that for his people, name all the artists on this album that you knew of. If you're not from the West Coast, I'm not talking about people from the West Coast because I'm sure y'all know these people. If you are not from the West Coast, name who you knew before this album came out, other than Roddy Ricch, other than SZA. I'll wait. The only person I will give y'all is Hitter J3, and the only reason I would give it to y'all is because he's been very vocal this year during the beef, and he let us know that he was the main person on the To Pimp a Butterfly cover. He let us know he was him, and he been on Twitter since the beef. Everybody outside of Roddy Ricch, outside of SZA, was a West Coast based rapper who is not on like that, but you know their names now. Professor Sky had a very good quote about this, because people call Kendrick a gatekeeper so that he can present himself to be the best from the West. He said, is Kendrick a gatekeeper, or did he just take us to the gate? GNX is taking us to the gate. Look at what we got here. I mean, we is rapping. Okay, so all of that equals to, it's just a California album. It's his love letter to California, whether it is embracing the GNX, the Hispanic Latina side of his hometown, bringing these smaller rappers from his coast to the light. It's just a love letter to the West.
I respect Kendrick so much as a writer, because this man is, this is what I'm talking about, how I'm like a student to it, but you have all of these things that you know and probably guided your research to figure out what you didn't know. But that is like impactful, bro. Just like every piece of the album, you know it's got a meaning. I know it's got a meaning because I've learned enough about him that he do everything intentionally. But you just kind of put a whole lot in perspective for every single layer, or at least what we can see from the outside looking in, like not being him inside his head writing it. But it's pretty it's dreamy. It's just like, dang, you would want to create something that every line has a purpose, every single syllable, like how it's said, when it's said, what the placement is on the album, like everything done with intention. I'm
And that is exactly why I never get into a rap battle with Kendrick, because he is one of the only rappers out here who do that. He literally every syllable though, and not just stopping at the syllables like you said. How he says what he says. If we had all night, we could get into every voice he uses on GNX and what message he's trying to convey at that specific time in the song, because never sleep on his voices. Never do that, because you're gonna miss the whole point in the album, and it's like, what you listening for? Never sleep on that.
I was gonna say, I heard you say that in your last spiel, talking about that's the voice he always used when he being himself, and I just stuck a pin in it, cause, huh?
Yeah. So let's get into some of these songs. Shooter, which song spoke to you that you
Yeah.
want to kind of get into, dive deeper into today?
Well, I do feel like I have to speak to my emotional response to Wait Out Mural. But nah, I mean, I got it on the surface level. Like, some of the stuff that Kendrick was speaking to was stuff that we all witnessed kind of transpire as like an aftermath of the beef. And just basically like his response to it. And yeah, I mean, I get that on the first layer, but again, music moves people. Poetry is living. I'm reading all of these lyrics as if they are poems, and I just felt grief like hit me. And while I respect the way he kind of stick his chest out with the adversity that he was hit with, I felt like one thing that kind of was like a vision of me, a vision that I was seeing as I was reading the first part, literally like somebody whacked out my mural. I just was thinking about how it feels like a metaphor now to what we are experiencing in administration for our country, trying to erase Black culture, erase legacy, suppress it so that people would forget the story, forget the work that had been done, forget the impact that was made. And I think even in the line that he put right after that, talking about that energy and make some of y'all move to Europe, I feel like there are a lot of people in our culture right now who are scrambling within themselves and like afraid, not knowing how to respond to the constant threat, again, in the adversity that we are continuously facing as a people. And it ain't just Black people, it's all Black, brown, disabled, LGBTQ, and all the things in between. But I'm identifying with the Blackness in it, and it's just like, ow. And I would want to be as sure of myself and as brave and as resilient as Kendrick is describing himself. And the energy in the song, it feels authoritative, it feels indignant, it feels just heavy. Like I know I'm walking with a heavy step, and I know people feel me whenever I come in a room. Like, it don't matter what's going on. The whole bit everything around me can be on fire, but if I'm here, you're gonna feel me. Like, I'm moving through those flames. And I just felt inspired by that at the same time. Like I said, I felt the grief in it, because wrong is wrong and injustice is injustice. And I hated that one particular instance happened. And I know I'm harping on one particular part of the song, but I think the energy kind of like carried throughout for me, like the feeling of, I'm here, you're going to feel me regardless of what strife comes against me. I know I'm here for a bigger purpose, and I know that I know that my name hold weight, kind of like John Wick. I know I'm him. I don't know. I felt like it was like an encourager at the same time, like for Black people. I don't know. I do know. That's how I felt.
You touchdown. It's motivation if you wonder how I did it. Like, that's the blueprint.
Remember who you are. Like, he used the term like, you know you a god even when they say you ain't. I ain't gotta go so far as to say I'm a god, or that the people within the culture are a god. But I think the underlying point there that he making is like, nah, like, don't allow nobody to erase you. Don't allow nobody to bury you. Don't allow nobody to wipe your mural off and think that mean that your legacy ended or that your purpose ended. And it just, I don't know. I do know. I keep saying I don't know, but I do.
He definitely said these the rules of engagement. I'ma guide you. Yeah, to speak to Wet Dot Mirrors just a little bit. Surface level. Not a new voice unlock, but I feel like we got a little bit of this energy in Watch the Party Die. Kendra has several serious characters in his songs, but this one is different. This is like a different serious voice. This teeth clenched, yeah, going up your rank. It's different. It's aggressive, and I like it. It is. I think it speaks a little bit to his frustration, because he says more than one time in this album, in this song, he says, I pay homage and I always mind my business. Man at the Garden, he says, I did it with integrity and people still try to hate on me. And so I think he's a little bit frustrated, and I have that same frustration. People who do the right thing, for some reason, the masses are just so quick to want to cancel them. And so this song is way more angry than anything he ever did in the battle. And it's intentionally so. This teeth clenched aggression that we're getting here is very intentional. He wants y'all to feel what he's saying. He said, forget a double entendre. I want you to feel this stuff. And he still gave us several double, triple, quadruple entendres. But he wants you to feel what he's saying. And I felt that for sure.
I feel that too. I don't know why the people being so mean to him.
And people hate Kendrick, and it's no secret as to why people just do not gravitate towards real ones. The masses don't gravitate toward real ones. That's why our channel is so small.
Ooh,
But
shit.
also to speak to Wet Dot Murals, as we know, each one of his albums, they have a certain device that carries us through the album. In this one, it was the mariachi singer. But they also all have like a theme. His album before this one, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, it was kind of like a play. And he had his device in that album was Whitney telling us Act 1, Act 2, carrying us through the album and carrying us through his journey through therapy and getting all his foolishness together. And this album, I saw somebody say that it was more of that one was like a play. Dang was like a magazine, like what carried us through was kind of like headlines, and then even the cover art kind of looks like a magazine cover. To Pimp a Butterfly was a poem, the poem to Tupac, that we get different pieces of it as we go through the album. This one, someone said that it's more like a CD or a tape. Riding through with Anita Baker and a tape deck. It's gonna be a sweet love. But you know, I don't know too much about cassettes, but CDs are more in my day. And when you get your new CD, that little fold out at the front of it tells you all the songs. It gives you the track list and kind of sometimes it gives you a note from the artist and all this stuff. Kind of gives you what the feel of the album is. And Wet Dot Murals does that. If you listen to Wet Dot Murals, it mentions a lot of these songs, all of the songs to come in it. He telling you what he deserved in the first one. He's telling you he squabbled up for them dividends. It's kind of the paper in the front of the CD. It's kind of the paper in front of the tape. So I do agree with that. Kind of the theme of this one is more so cassette, CD, and even he's in the GNX that has a tape deck. He's in a 1987 model car, so it's just kind of the vibe that he's embodying. But yeah, Wet Dot Murals.
That's beautiful shit.
I listened to the whole album all the way through the first time I listened to it, but it took me a minute. It took me days to get off of Wet Dot Murals. I know every word to that one because I couldn't stop listening to it. I love that energy. Because honestly, the truth is, if anybody ever painted a mural of me in my city and somebody like went and spray painted over my face, that energy might have me moving the earth.
It
But
might. I just
it's regular to him now, that's for sure. And it's really that though. I think sometimes we put these celebrities on these pedestals and we dehumanize them, but that somebody took their spray paint and defaced the mural that somebody took their time to paint. Mm-hmm. That has potential to hurt feelings. Mm-hmm. But he here, going up his rank. He know who he is, even when y'all say he ain't. So yeah.
I love it. I love it for so many reasons, bro. I love it because it's what we need to hear as a people. I love it because it's what my kids need to hear as people who are trying to figure out who they are, like where they have belonging, and if it's okay to exist as they are without. I guess if it's okay, that's really a closeout. If it's okay to exist as they are, whether they have friends or not, whether they have people around them or not, and it ain't necessarily about having friends alone, but having the right kind of friends. Like, it's just so much around it that relates to identity to me, that relates to just the beauty of everybody's intricate design. And he like, I don't care, bro. I don't care about what nobody else talking about. I'm Kendrick Lamar. Like, period.
Shooter was just saying that Man at the Garden is kind of in the same energy as Wet Dot Murals. I agree. We still got that kind of teeth clenched aggression, but it's a little calmer. I feel like this song, is very comparable to Watch the Party Die in tone. People have been making connections on this song and Nas's One Mic. All I need is one mic. What I will say, I do agree with Professor Sky. In that song, Nas was talking about what he needs, and need and deserve are two totally different things. So while he might have interpolated that vibe, that beat, Kendrick is not even telling you what he needs because he don't need any of this, but he does deserve it. He deserves all these things he lays out in that song, and he tells you why. I love when he goes up on the keep all my blessings faithfully, keep these away from me. I love when it go up. I love when he tells us when he continues to go up in octave. He says, I'm crashing out right now, don't you play with me. Is that what he's saying? He says something like that. He tells us he's crashing out right now, but at that part, that's when I'm crashing out right now, no one's safe from me. He's telling us what he's doing, which is crashing out, but that's when those background vocals are they coming up and they're increasing, but it's still those background vocals. It's a calm melody, and just the juxtaposition of the words he's saying, how he's saying them, and the calmness of the beat and the melody, I think it's chef's kiss. And I think it speaks to why he's the boogeyman. I mean, he done told you say his name 3 times. He promised you'll see Candyman. So I I think it speaks to the boogeyman-ness of Kendrick Lamar. I think it speaks to how he slaps a PAN and make it look sexy. Because he doing it right there. He crashing out, but it's just cool. It's chill. He can be riding in his GNX. Even thinking about that, Professor Sky said Whacked Out Murals is very amped up, but he's saying he riding in his GNX with Anita Baker in the tape deck. It's gonna be a sweet love. He's in his car listening to Sweet Love. It's the juxtaposition there that just makes it like he just Kendrick Lamar. And it does it get better? I'm not sure. Let me know. I think he's also admitting to a bit of that frustration here where he tells us who he is. He tells us why he deserves it. Y'all not gonna give it to him, and that's why he don't need it. So I think although he is bringing in that all I need is one mic, he don't need this stuff, but he does deserve it. And I think he's just telling y'all so it can forever and consistently be broke. We did ask our community. Okay, listen everybody. We have a name for our community, and it is, drum roll please, the Shamunity. Okay, we love it. Do y'all love
We
it?
love it.
Okay. We asked our community what we should talk about on this episode. Gary Hayes 8311 said we should talk about Wet Out Murals, Luther, Man at the Garden, Reincarnated, The Heart Part 6, Dodger Blue, Gloria, and the liberal use of the B word. And what Gary Hayes said was listening to that song Gloria made him uncomfortable initially. Gary, we're the same because me too. I was thinking he was speaking literally. I was too dense to realize he was being metaphorical, and then got convicted because I defaulted off rip to him speaking about a woman before he cleverly used my preconceptions against me. Wicked work, Kendrick. Wicked work. Okay, so I just want to say, Gary, don't say you dense, because you're not dense. On the first listen, you think he's talking about his woman. You think he's talking about Whitney, and they have a complicated relationship. As you listening to the song, even up until the point where he say, baby, I went to Africa, baby, you was my passenger. And I remember pictures of him and Whitney in Africa. Why wouldn't we be thinking that he's talking about Whitney? And I text my brother and Alicia listening to it, like, not me getting mad that he keep calling her the B word. Whole time he's talking about his pen. And so you're not dense for thinking that. I think on first listen we all think that until he says that the B word in question is his pen. And then when you
The
listen
last
back
line.
to it, right, when you listen back to the song, you realize that he's talking about his pen. He's saying that when his grandma died, the pen said, baby, dry your eyes, let me be your solace, let me be your guide. The pen took him away from his friends. So many people wanted this girl, this pen. So many people wanted this rap life, this career, but they was too busy playing video games. At first listen, all of us thought he was saying everybody wanted Whitney, but they was too busy being immature. She wanted somebody more mature. No, he was saying that everybody wanted the life he's living right now, but nobody could lock in. But he locked in, and they have had a complicated relationship ever since. Gloria. And it is for those reasons that I'm starting to love Gloria more and more. It's such a good song as you listen to it and just think about just the way Kendrick writes. I just love it. So you're not dense. We all thought that until he made the big reveal. And then you go back and listen. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you talking about your pen. I think we kind of touched on every song Gary Hayes said. So we can leave that there. Mr. Rayvon, he said that a few topics that would be interesting for us to discuss would be number one, do y'all think GNX is helping to bring back regionalism in hip hop?
Yeah, I would say probably even before GNX, that was already kind of going on with the beef. I.e., Joey Bad response to all of the attention I guess the West Coast was getting. I think even his, and we talked about this in a video, we haven't put it out yet, but we talked about how he's basically like calling other rappers on the East Coast to stand up. And we even talked a little bit about the different regions, like you were mentioning Outkast and T.I. and like newer artists too, like up to date being the South, and then who's coming from the East Coast and all of the above. So I think that was already kind of on the way with the beef and just the fact that it took place. But I would say that because GNX is so heavily West Coast influenced, and it's like an ode to the West Coast, a tribute to the West Coast, it could move other artists to step up and say what they feel about their area and why it's them over the next or whatever. So I look forward to that. I think that, to your point too about watching the party die and reincarnation, it's a great time to respond. It's a great time to respond with bars. It's a great time to respond with the message of hip hop that was always the origin of hip hop. It's a great time for everybody to be resurrected. And I like his term. I like his use of reincarnated because it's like you coming back different. But we'll see.
Do I think that GNX is helping to bring back regionalism in hip hop? I think it could. I think Kendrick has opened the gate to his coast and they are taking that torch and running with it. The West Coast is up and they are doing it. And they are not just producing music, but they are producing West Coast music. Kendrick is not a person who generally produces music that sounds West Coast, but he's done that in GNX and he's doing it. DJ had told us that Kendrick says this is what he on right now. So I love that. Joey Bad is a New York artist and his music sounds like New York. There is a lot of artists that come from all these different places and you wouldn't know where they're from because their music sounds like different regions. And so to Alicia's point of Joey at pretty much prompting his coast to stand up, it's like stand up and also stand up and be New York. I love New York hip hop. I love West Coast hip hop because Joey got inspired. He did his thing. Ray Vaughn, they came back, and I love that. I am, as much as this channel has been Kendrick Lamar, Drake, and all of that, I'm the biggest fan of Southern rap. I'm a DSGG, down to the socks, down South Georgia girl. Like, I'm a major fan of Southern rap. And while I do think trap music is alive and well, it's not necessarily the trap music I grew up on. Literal trap music by T.I. type music. While I do think trap music, which did originate in Atlanta, I think that's kind of alive and well in this new kind of form. What is missing is that original Southern soulful, low-key gospel type of hip hop that the Outcasts, the Goody Mobs of the world put into this genre. When I tell you that's my stuff, and that's why probably when I really sit down and think about it, Outkast is Andre 3 Stacks, but Outkast is my favorite rappers because they do that so well. That real soulful hip hop that's just like, ugh, not you taking me to church, but low key, you know? And that's Southern rap. That's Georgia rap. Not just even Southern rap, because we can get into New Orleans rap, we can get into Ghetto Boys, Houston, like in all these southern states. I love those genres of rap. Like, I love those sounds. And if we can get back to those sounds from those different places and the people who live there rep, they bring that back to the surface. And like, I'm proud to be from Georgia and this is what Georgia hip hop is. Oh baby, I will be happy and I will start listening to artists that I don't know again because I love that. So to your question, do I think that GNX is helping to do that? I think it inspired it because it definitely inspired Joey, and Joey in turn inspired some responses. I say the South, let's get into that. And I don't want people, like, I hear so many people on the internet saying that the South doesn't listen to Kendrick because the South, we are people who go to the club and that's not stuff you can hear in the club. But there's this whole other facet of Southern rap that exists. When you listen to Outkast and Goody Mob, it's not, some of it is, but it's not just club music. It's soul music. Like, we are collard greens and hoe cakes. I got soul. Who say that? That's the Outkast bar. Like, collard greens and hoe cakes, I got soul. And Southern Playalistic, yes. That's us. Like, go listen to Southern Playalistic. That's Southern hip hop to me. And I love that. And I would love for us to get back to that. Not to bring it all to the South, but I do hope that GNX is helping to inspire artists to just hone in on their craft, hone in on their regions, because I think a lot of artists of today may not even be that familiar with the roots of their regions. Like, I feel like if you're from New York, you might think about you have so many OGs in New York to look up to when it comes to hip hop. Hip hop originated in New York. But when you think about Georgia, think about your OGs here. I mean, because they started it and it was different. Y'all know Andre 3 Stacks, they had to fight for their place in hip hop because it was different. But it's ours and it's like special. And y'all hear how people are begging Andre to drop now. I mean, come on. Stop trying to sound like everybody else. Let's be us. Anyway, I went off on a tangent. Your second question was, how does an album like GNX impact the musical landscape into the future? Ultimately, I think that GNX, along with other works, because let's also be clear, guys, 2024 was a great year for hip hop. Several great albums were released. Absol's album is amazing. Have y'all listened to it? When Kendrick say that he used to study Ab-Soul in the corner and he would watch him over there and he'll crack a little smile. I can only imagine because Ab-Soul's pen is lethal. His album was great. Soul Burger. Schoolboy Q's album, Blue Lips, amazing. Doechii, ASAP Ferg dropped. It's lots of good hip hop going on right now. GNX did come at the tail end of 2024, but what I do think that just Kendrick's bodies of work that he produced in the entire year from Like That up into GNX helped to inspire people to get back to lyricism and thinking about what they're writing on the paper, what they're saying, because I feel like so many artists have gotten away from lyricism, and it's just always good to be able to listen to something and I can really try to figure out what you say, see if I agree with it or not, have thoughts about it. You know what I'm saying? I think that was GNX's ultimate impact, and I think it's going to continue to impact artists, especially people from the West Coast who are looking up to Kendrick now and defining their pen. Maybe we finna grow some artists who are really lyricists out here. You know what I'm saying? I really think it's...
I was doing my praise hand like I'm in church.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that's how an album like GNX impacts hip hop in the future.
I mean, y'all know where I'm going with it. I am hoping that in the future we get artists who are woke. Like I'm hoping not, and I'm not trying to insult nobody. I'm just saying, now that my ears are tuned up for some hip hop, and now that I just feel like we in a very vulnerable place as a culture, as a people. And not only do we have to fight to preserve and protect the memories, the stories that have already been told in our time and in our culture, but we have to document what's going on now. Like, we have to sing the stories of now. We have to tell the stories of now. And, you know, there's power in memory, which is why so many above us would like for us to forget. Why slave owners and even just people in the Jim Crow ages too didn't want black people to read, didn't want black people to vote, didn't want black people to think, just so that their foot could stay positioned securely on our necks. And I feel like I would hope that GNX, even the rap, I would say the rap beat too. I feel like it was just a beautiful sequence of events. God's timing, clearly. But just some of the themes that were brought up that should have moved black people, should have frustrated us, angered us, or just made us feel like, dang, we really got to start letting people come to the cookout. I feel like some of those topics need to be explored today, because the theme may be the same, but how we experiencing it, I feel like it tells its own story. So I would hope that writers emerge, or maybe just evolve, like Shootas was saying, that carry that and that work really hard or contribute to protecting the culture. And that has to do with memory. It has to do with our story being told. So I'm looking forward to that.
Mr. Rayvon also asked, what songs should he perform at the Super Bowl? Videos you like to see from songs off of GNX? I would love to see a Luther video, and I would also love to see the Heart Part 6 video with them enacting these different scenes, like Ab-Soul in the corner rapping, Day Free squabbling. I would like to see, just because so many memes have come out of y'all's interpretations of TV off, I would like to see how he would put TV off to visuals with the mustard. I would like to see that. I don't think I need a video for Man at the Garden, but I think if he did it, it would be so great. It might be like, because Man at the Garden is like maybe him at the Garden of Eden telling God why he deserves to be there. So maybe the video would be there. He just talking to him like a very serious, moody lighting, like, you know what I'm saying? I could see that. That could be a good video. I would like to see a video to any of these songs, but I think just when I think about how I would direct a video, I could see some good visuals for those songs. But I think a lot of them deserve a video, so he can go Beyonce on us and go video for video.
Nah, I feel like my sentiments with that are, well, I won't say the same. I'm not sure. I feel like I'm just getting an idea of like how he creates, and I'm not sure what ones I care to see or like I desire to see. I'm fiending to see played out. I'm enjoying just the experience of walking through the album and digesting the audio. So I'm not sure. I don't know. But the songs that I love from this album, I would definitely say Man at the Garden is my favorite song. Whacked Out Murals is close second, if they don't fight for first every other day. And I like the Heart Part 6 as well. So any one of them would be fine. I listen to those a lot.
Y'all ever watched Loyalty video? It's a really good video, and I like how crazy him and Rihanna is in their loyalty to each other in that video. I do like to see how Kendrick, or maybe Dave Free, maybe Calmatic, whoever is working on that video at the time, how they display relationship in general. So I would like to see how they would do like a Luther. What would be the vibe of that video? Because loyalty is crazy. Out of 10, what would you give GNX?
Mm. Can I be honest? I probably wouldn't give a rating like that. I probably wouldn't. I just feel like it's I don't know. Like I just had my first bottle and I'm like just nursing on every element. And it's even difficult for me to absorb everything that you are saying because it's just so much. It's like a lot. And I could see like how I'm an infant, but you might be 20 years old as a fan. Like it's just so, if you've been groomed as a Kendrick fan, you feel me? Like you kind of get it. And I'm not saying I can't keep up. I'm just saying I'm not where I want to say like this is a 10. I'm not comparing it to nothing. I haven't even heard some of the other albums. I have to get, I only got a little bit of what he mean from everything. So I want to say, did it move me? Absolutely. Did I feel it? I believe so. It makes me want to see LA from, not even LA, it makes me want to see California, Compton from his perspective or from the community's perspective.
He said in Dodger Blue, if you're going with him, just know you're taking the scenic route.
Right. And don't say what he said something about, don't say you hate LA if you only stay on the
If
10.
you ain't travel past the 10.
So with that being said, I think one, he's got me excited. He's got me feeling empowered. I think he's speaking to a whole lot of, I know I feel, and I wonder, and I hope that other people probably feel concerning things outside of what's going on in my little life, but what's going on in this world. I think he hit the mark for making me want more. So I would give, if I could rate it in that way without necessarily thinking about the lyrics and how it's structured, I would say 10 out of 10 for that. For did I listen and I want to do something different? Did I listen and I get inspired? Did I listen and I want to make a change? Yeah. Did I listen and do I want to go to the concert? Yes, I do. Will I be watching? Will I be watching the KDot Bowl locked in? Y'all watched his 2016 Grammy performance. She sent it to me the other day. So I've been trying to get my palette right for some KDot, and I'm geeking. I'm very excited. I'm a creative in my own right. So some of the ways that he do stuff, I like that. I feel like it speaks to me, even though I hadn't been a fan of, or I don't like saying a fan of his music. I haven't been a listener of rap. I feel like I'm geek now.
Shooter is becoming a fan of the team also because what did they used to call themselves before they got PG Lang? They used to work together a lot. Dave Free and Kendricks, we would know that they worked on the video production together if it said what. Was it they called themselves the little homies? I think Shooter is becoming a fan of the team because what we be seeing on that stage is both of their heads coming together to make whatever Kendrick wrote on the paper come to life, and it just be so good, y'all. Like, remember that time when he used the beat of one song to and the lyrics of the other, and it's like, oh my god, why you didn't record it like that? I can't wait to see what he do live. Kendrick is different. He is the Beyonce of rap. Sam Line. Michael Jackson, Prince, Beyonce, Kendrick. I feel like they're the coup de grace of live performances. Period. Fight me. So I would rate this album, and I guess my rating is more so in comparison to the other ones. I'm giving it a 9. There are so many things I like. We did get some new voices unlocked, and I'm always down for that. But I'm giving it a 9. I also want to know what y'all ratings are, and we're gonna end this video with a ranking of Kendrick's albums. But I want you guys in the comments to rank Kendrick's albums from your favorite to your least favorite. I know it's kind of hard because as I was doing it earlier, I was like, I like all of them, but if I had to rank them, this is what it would be. So this is going to be so controversial. I can't wait to hear what y'all got to say about it. But I'm going from 8 to 1, so from least favorite to favorite. And I did not do the Kendrick Lamar EP or the C4 EP. Those are a little bit before my Kendrick time, so I didn't put those in the running. But everything else I did. Number 8, I put Dang. I feel like that's a lot of people's favorite Kendrick album. It is his most commercial album, and I love Loyalty. I love love a lot of stuff on there. I love LYSH. I love a good origin story, so I love the Duckworth record. But that's number 8. Number 7, I put Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Number 6, I put Overly Dedicated. That's like some OG Kendrick fan stuff. If you haven't listened to Overly Dedicated, y'all should go listen. It's a great one. Number 5, I put GNX. Number 4, To Pimp a Butterfly. And 4 through 1 is kind of all of them are number 1. I'm not gonna lie. Number 3, I put Untitled Unmastered. Number 2, Good Kid, Mad City. And my favorite Kendrick project will probably always be Section 80. I feel like that's super controversial. My brother don't understand why that's my favorite, but it's so good. Like, oh my gosh, it's my favorite. It's one of my favorite things that he's ever created. All the women's stories. I just love that one. But he just on. I want to know what you think.
Which one is the one that you love to sing? Head is the answer.
That's oh, we talking about that one in the next video too. That's Untitled Unmastered, and that one is not very popular. So Untitled Unmastered it's called Untitled Unmastered because the songs are not mastered, and it's basically the songs that did not make it onto To Pimp a Butterfly, and he dropped Untitled Unmastered, and it's so good. That's number 3 for me. I love it so much. It's not as structured as his other albums, but it's not meant to be. Hence Untitled Unmastered. But yeah, let us know how you rank KDot's albums. Let us know how you feel about GNX. Let us know all the things because we want to know. We are dropping twice this week. We got this video and we also have a Super Bowl dedicated video coming soon. So stay tuned. Turn your TV on, not off. Shoot us out.
Shootas out.
Jaimsss got some shooters on deliver.